to the topic on production planning and control. This is also a topic under product operations and management. And in this particular module, we are going to understand how we do production planning, and we're also going to understand also the objectives of production planning and why is it important for us to be able to plan our production. So we begin by asking ourselves, what is production planning? And we are saying it is planning for production in a manufacturing organization before actual production activities take place. We all know the importance of planning, the emphasis of planning. When we plan, even in the management of organizations, we are able to be able to move forward as one team. We are able to know who is going to do what in what activity of the organization. So it is the same planning that we are bringing now to production, so that we can be efficient, we can be effective, we can deliver the correct goods and services that customers are expecting from us. We can be able to meet customer expectations. We can be able to take care of our company image by giving quality products and so on and so forth. So when we plan, then we are able to discuss the aspects of quantity. How much are we going to produce? Quality, what aspects of quality are we going to be taking care of? And then we are able also to decide on the delivery schedules. If we have customer orders that are already in place and awaiting delivery, we are able to plan on how to deliver. And also planning will also involve us asking or determining the cost of production, and we are able now to determine the source of funds. How are we going to repay those funds? So it is an all-round activity that we need to do to ensure that it happens effectively. From there, we have the objectives of production planning and control. What is it that we seek to achieve when we are doing production planning and control? Number one is ensure maximum utilization of organizational resources. Remember, these resources are important for the organization. When we talk about resources, we are referring to the human resources and the raw materials that we have, time as a resource. We want to ensure maximum utilization of these resources that are at our disposal. So once we plan, then we can make sure in terms of time management, human resource management, we have been able to take care of all of them. And in terms of human resource, no human being or no employee is feeling underutilized in the organization. And also another objective of production planning is to ensure the production of quality products, and also to be able to maintain optimum levels of inventory. When we talk about the word optimum, we mean maximum levels of inventory. It is very, very important. Inventory also in terms of raw materials, so that we don't suffer what we call stockouts because of failure to plan. And the other one is to be able to maintain flexibility in manufacturing operations. Remember, in our production activities, we need to be flexible. Flexible means we can be able to adapt to change, improve on aspects that maybe customers have raised issues within our products, check on our product lines to ensure that they are efficient, and so on and so forth. And finally, we want to deliver quality goods as required and in the relevant quantities. So that's very, very important to be able to note. Now, production planning and control will also involve a series of steps. And step number one is planning itself. And when in this particular step, then we are asking ourselves a very important question: what is to be produced? So we have to determine that. And when we are determining what is to be produced, we are also looking at the quantities, we are also looking at the qualities, we are also looking at how often is it to be produced, if it's a particular product. we have those products that are customized for specific customers. So it means we are not producing them every day. We produce them only when orders have been given to the company to manufacture such kind of goods. It may be vehicles, it may be housing materials like roofing materials. Somebody would prefer to have longer roofing iron sheets, for example, than it's in the market. So we can only produce such when they have given us an order, and that is determined in stage number one of planning. And then we have routing, and then this simply means we determine the flow of raw materials. So we have a clear route. How is the movement of our raw materials within our production farm or organization? And this flow will also ensure that we do not go below the expected raw materials, that we are always having raw materials ready for us to be able to do production. And then step number three, in planning and controlling, we will have scheduling, and this involves ensuring completion of an operation or completion of a production activity. And the other one is the loading. In this particular step, we check the amounts of work loaded on the machines. We do not want to overload our machines because we are depending on them. So it is important to even give them breaks when you are doing production so that they don't break down midway. And also step number 5, we do dispatch, ensure orders are released. And finally, on step number 5, we can be able to locate any faults and defects in the production process, and ensure that it is effective. Then we are asking ourselves, what does planning involve? That's a very, very important aspect. Number one, we are saying planning involves planning for raw materials. So we plan for raw materials in terms of quantity, in terms of sources, in terms of the cost of those raw materials. The other one is planning for processing methods. That's very, very important. What are the methods that we are going to use to process our goods? And also, very, very importantly, the third one is planning for human resources. So these are the people that are going to work in our production facilities. When we are doing human resource planning, of course, we are also asking ourselves in terms of qualifications, what qualifications do we expect these people to have? How much are we going to pay them? That's very, very important. In what kind of contractual agreements are we going to have with them? Are they casual employees? And so on and so forth. So, and within the planning process, we also require resources in terms of the need for us to train them, improve their skills, even if they have come with knowledge, so that now we can enhance them. And also that will, in the long run, also benefit the organization. And the other one is routing. We determine the flow of work. And number 5 is inspection to ensure quality throughout the production process. So inspection is also very key. We can have quality officers, we can have those that are in charge of inspection to ensure that we do not fail, we do not go below the expected demands by our customers. Now we ask ourselves a very, very important question. What is production control? And we are saying it involves planning, directing, controlling material supply to ensure products are produced in a specified way. So it is very, very important to ensure we are practicing production control. And it will now bring us to the aspect of ensuring we have our eye on the ball, eye on what you are producing. Ensuring that material supply has not been cut short because of lack of raw materials, because of employees who have gone on strike. So it is a continuous process that we continue to do to ensure these activities are able to take place. When we are doing production control, the key aim of this particular activity, we want, number one, to ensure maximum utilization of organizational resources. I have mentioned about resources, the human resources, the finances that we have. The other one is ensuring efficient scheduling of production activities. Another objective is to be able to ensure proper coordination of various departments. Remember, an organization is a big organization. It's a big setup of different people, different departments that we are putting together. We have the marketing department, we have the human resource department, we have the finance department, and all these particular departments are interdependent. They depend on each other for successful completion of activities. And the other one is to ensure timely and regular supply of raw materials. That's very, very important. Factors that determine production control. That's a very, very important topic also or subtopic. What will determine the level of production control? Number one is the nature of production. What kind of goods are we producing? The demand that customers have for that particular good. The other one is the nature of operations, stroke activities, duration, how long is it going to take, sequence, and also the nature of activities. The other one is intensity of operations. How intense are the operations? When we may be manufacturing products like heavy machinery, vehicles, tractors, so you cannot compare that with manufacturing of maybe a food item. So it is more intense, you have to be more thorough, and it is very, very important to know the kind of products that you're dealing with. Now, we have what we call the requirements of effective production planning and control. What are some of the things that we need so that this particular discussion of production planning and control is effective and takes place in the most appropriate way? Number one, we need sound organization structure with mechanism for proper delegation. So organization structure is very, very important. It will show us the reporting relationships. It is going to show us who is in charge of what part of the organization. When we talk about delegation, it is the ability of the organization structure to support work being shared, maybe to junior employees to be able to support us in production and so on and so forth. Within the organization, as our point number two, it is also very, very important to have feedback. Feedback is very, very important, and we cannot avoid having it, because it is through a feedback system that we can be able to get even feedback from our customers. We can be able to give feedback to our employees. We can be able to give feedback to all other stakeholders that are involved in the production process, or that are part and parcel of the company. Another requirement is experienced personnel for using special tools and equipment. We have experienced people. If we are in a company maybe that deals with engineering, we need the most qualified engineers that we can afford and we can have, so that none of our processes are going to stagnate because we do not have personnel that can be able to control our equipment. And the other one is flexibility to accommodate change. That is also very, very important. So we need to be flexible in our production planning and control, because like I've said, within our manufacturing activities, maybe we can have challenges that we need to amend. Customers have demanded a correction of a particular thing that they feel is not good for them. So flexibility will allow us now to improve on these changes. The other one is appropriate management policies regarding production and inventory levels. When we talk about policies, they are simply guidelines on how we are supposed to conduct particular activities. And in this context, we are talking about policies that are going to assist in production and inventory levels. It can be policies on how we acquire raw materials, policies on how we deal with our suppliers, when do we pay them, and so on and so forth. We have different production systems within an organization. And when we are looking at these particular systems, we are looking at them at the concept of the volume and types of outcomes that we are expecting these systems to be able to execute. Number one is intermittent production systems, and the other one is continuous production systems. When you talk about intermittent production systems, we are saying this kind of production system will have an irregular production schedule. We can have organizations that are not continuously in production. So what they have is an irregular production schedule. And another thing that we have to learn in this kind of a production system is that the flow of production is not continuous. I've just mentioned that. And also goods are produced based on customer orders. So we only, in this kind of production system, it is more of the organization depending on how many times or how much of a quantity of a particular good customers are going to order. Then they go ahead now and manufacture that particular good. This is a case study, is an example of what we call an intermittent production system. And it's an example of how tailors work. They work based on a number of customer orders. A tailor cannot just wake up and go start to making a shirt or a trouser. Mostly they depend on customers' orders. Then he can go ahead or she can go ahead and do stitching. And remember, each customer has a different measurement and size and expectations of the kind of garment they are looking for. So we can be able to call this an example of an intermittent production system. Now, characteristics of this system also, like we have said in the definition, flow of production will be at irregular intervals. Actually, that is what it's making us call it intermittent. And then there are a variety of products to be produced. So if you go to a tailor's shop, you're going to find they're producing different varieties of a particular product or a particular garments, depending on who has ordered. You're going to find ladies' garments, men garments, kids' garments, and so on and so forth. And also general purpose machines are used. So the sewing machine would most likely be the same, but they are, in terms of what is to be produced, will be dependent on customers' preferences. And also size, quantity, shape depends on the customer's orders. We have different types of intermittent production, project production flows. So this one, a company takes up one complex order and they move with it until completion of that particular order. And we have jobbing production flows. When we talk about jobbing production flows, we mean production of a product is within a given period and cost is fixed. So examples is when we are designing and implementing advertising campaigns, auditing accounts of a large public limited company. All those are examples of jobbing production flows. And also we have batch production flows. They are identical or similar items are produced together for different sized production runs. So examples of what we are talking about batch production, because we are saying they are identical and similar, we are talking about food products such as meals, baked foods, sporting goods. You realize if a company is manufacturing a uniform for a team, the color will be the same. Maybe what is going to vary is different sizes, like we are saying in our definition here, but those would be typical examples. And then we have what we call continuous production systems. These kind of systems operate constantly with the regular faults, or we can also be able to call them flow manufacturing is another name we can be able to give continuous production systems. Now, an example of a continuous production system is what happens in the food industry. Yeah? And we are saying there is a continuous production as it is purely based on demand. Forecast, thus large-scale production of food is going to be able to take place. So production here is not intermittent, like we have just said. It is continuous. And mostly in the food industry, if you go to an hotel, for example, they will not just sit. Most of hotels, they will wake up very early, prepare their foods, and then wait for customers to come and buy that particular food. So that is an example of continuous production. At the company level, we have companies that are manufacturing consumables, companies that are manufacturing products like sugar, like salt. Those are products that are undergo continuous production because number one, also for consumable kind of products, clients, customers, ourselves, we will still at some point demand them or demand to consume them. Now, characteristics of continuous production schedules. Number one, the flow of production is continuous. Products are also standardized, so they are uniform. When you talk about standardization, is uniformity. The other one is quality products predetermine quality standards. So the kind of products we are producing is going to determine quality, and also products are produced as a company anticipates demand. So the more the demand is increasing, they can go ahead and keep producing more. And we have types of continuous production. We have what we call mass production flows and process production flows. I invite you to carry out research on this particular two so that you can be able to understand the concept of continuous production and how these particular two are going to happen or take place. So thank you so much. You can be able to continue to research on each and any other slide that you need more clarification in order to be able to succeed and understand this particular topic.